Yeah, look, I'm listening to you guys go back and forth. I mean, this thing's really going, a different direction. That's what I hoped was going to happen, was you guys are going to start comparing notes and finding those similarities, because all the time that I've spent with everybody, it doesn't matter what discipline they've come from originally, they all arrive at that. Yeah. They all arrive at what you guys just discussed. And they arrived there by going through a lot of different things to get there. There's a few pivotal moments. That's why I asked that. And you guys mentioned like things in business or things in life, but part of it was for me in listening to, I had Ben on the other night, Ben Aubin, and he was talking to me about sort of how he was discovering things. And part of that is like turning the whole thing into a laboratory. And when I listened to these guys, that's what he's like, dude, my gym or my facility is like a lab.
He's very intellectual too.
We are just
he's really smart.
You all are. Like, and I'm telling you, like, I've been to a lot of places. I've been to a lot of gyms. I've been to a lot of shooting instruction. I've been to some combatives instruction. I've done a lot of stuff. I certainly don't have the experience that you guys have in the realms that you have in it. But here's what I'm saying. The level of thinking, the way you guys just kind of walk through that, for the average person, the dude that's looking for the mission, he's never heard that before.
Yeah.
Even if he's a brown belt, right? He, at that point, like, because he's just focused on being, the black belt or whatever, going to the tournament, just winning the tournament, or whatever. He hasn't heard those things before, right? And that's the point we need them to get to, right? Like, and again, it's not BJJ bad, right? BJJ's great, right? But there's so much more to it, as you guys are explaining. And how do we so part of that process, like, that's part of my question going back, like, how do we get them there? How do we introduce this stuff to them? How do they know more?
Well, I would say they also kind of have to want it to some degree. Like,
how do we make them want it?
Yeah, because I know that's more of a thing. Because like Matt was saying, like, sometimes like they need it.
Yeah.
They might not want it.
Yeah.
And it's like you got to have some level of buy-in. So how can we convert them to make that buy-in?
In your tribe, wherever your tribe is, your coalition, there's currency. Like, there's currency. This is a currency. If you do this, you have a status, or a higher status, or you have there's a currency there. If violence, or being able to protect your loved ones or whatever, if that's a currency where you are, everyone will try to do it. Right?
I want it. Yeah.
Right. So if you look at like just society has gone through multiple evolutions, and this is a natural cycle. And so from the study that I've done with it, I'm not a super learned guy, but the thing is, the thing is this: we all started off as a society in a might-based society. In other words, go back as far as you want. There was a time when whoever ran this thing was the strongest guy. Mm-hmm. Like, the guy who could smash the most skulls was the guy that that's the chief right there. He's a skull smashing chief. Now, that's how it is in society. Warlords and, whoever's got the biggest band, that guy runs this area, And then there's warlords right across the river, and they are going to battle it out, right? But he runs all the little bands where he is, okay? It's might-based. Is the currency. It's might-based. Now, they realize that every spring, when everything thaws out, we're gonna fight a little bit for some hunting grounds, some resources, something like that. And they realize that they kill enough of their warriors during that time to make winter hard. And if they can just say, hey, how about we make some kind of deal here? So we're not just killing each of our warriors off, so that all these other little bands might be able to take us down. It's might-based, right? But at some point, they make an agreement. Now, that agreement turns to honor-based. Mm-hmm. Are you going to honor your agreement? Are you going to honor your agreement? If you don't, we're just going to go back to might. We're going to fight.
What are the consequences?
What are the consequences? So then the currency then can be honor. I give you my word that my warriors aren't going to attack you. You give me your word. Now, the whole structure of that culture begins to change. It becomes honor-based. That's the currency. And if your word is good, you have currency in this culture. At a certain point, enough people start to be a lot more prosperous. A lot more people are living through the winter. A lot of things are happening. But the only people with real currency in that environment are people with honor. They have a name. They come from this house. They come from this, this family, the family that used to be warlords. Mm-hmm. Now it's all honor based. But the average person, they don't have any of that, right? So what happens naturally in societies is it goes from might based to honor based to like legal based or human dignity based, which is like a legal structure, so that everyone has rights here. Mm-hmm. Everyone in this society has rights, not just the people who have a name, not just the honor-based people. So that goes back to like a legal-based thing. After that, people start saying, well, how can I get more currency? Well, the law tries to make these little guys, have like a little bit more say. They don't have might. They don't have honor necessarily, like a family name, but they're a citizen. So how does that citizen get more currency? Well, if the citizen's weaker, he gets some special bonuses.
Mm-hmm. Special treatment.
Special treatment. So then there's a fight to be weaker, right? I've been in a class of people that gets extra bonus. Mm-hmm. So your entire society can go from might as the currency to honor as the currency to victimhood as the currency. But what happens? What's the natural cycle after everyone fights to be weaker and weaker and weaker?
It starts all over again.
It starts all over again.
Yeah.
So what happens is everyone becomes weaker, trying to find some advantage. And then what happens is somebody gets strong and goes...
Crushes skulls.
Yeah. Starts crushing skulls.
That's right.
And then the currency becomes might-based. But where do we want to live? We don't want to live in either one of those extremes. We want that honor-based...
Somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle, right? Yeah. So how do we make sure that we maintain that's the currency that matters, right? It's not... So being weak, we know that leads to eventually a might-based currency. So like, how do we do it? We have to maintain the honor-based, right? The virtue-based. Like you're going to be judged not by nothing more than your word, your courage, your ability to maintain what you say you're going to do, right? And so that's where we need to try to hold on to that honor-based currency. How do we promote that? You promote it with your kids. You raise your kids up like that. Like that's the most important thing is your honor. And if you do that, I think that we can perpetuate this generation after generation, but it's a fight to do it.
Yeah, you get the mission piece that's attached to that.